Hey there everyone, thanks for tuning in again. Woody Bendle here from Next Level Growth Strategies. This week's business tip is something I'm betting you'll have an opinion about one way or another. And if you've watched any of our videos before, you'll know that we love to challenge conventional wisdom and business folklore, especially when it pertains to the quote-unquote traditional way of doing things, or this is what we've always heard, so this is what we've always thought, so that's why we've always done it this way. There is still so much of this out there, and it's a shame because it is often wrong, or at least not completely right. And this week, we're going to show you something that might just blow your mind and maybe change how you think about how your organization advertises throughout the year. Okay, then stick around because I know you are not going to want to miss out on this week's tip. All right, welcome back everyone. And before we dive on in, if you're a fan of our videos, be sure to give us a like and go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss out on one of our weekly business tips. So when it relates to advertising, and in particular, how much to spend on advertising, which channels to use, and how to allocate that investment throughout the year, there are tons of opinions and just as many rules of thumb out there as there are opinions. And as someone who has analyzed billions of dollars of ad spend across a lot of different businesses of different sizes in different industries, I can tell you with a lot of confidence that a lot of these opinions and long existing beliefs are simply wrong. And I'm going to share one of those with you right now. Here we go. If you are going to increase your advertising spend, it is better to allocate that spend in periods of higher seasonality than in periods of lower seasonality. So, what do you think? Is it better to spend more during your peaks or during your troughs? Now, what I can tell you is that the widespread belief or conventional wisdom that I've encountered throughout my career is that it is better to spend more during the business peaks than during its troughs. And I'm betting you've heard this before, and there's even a good chance that you believe this. You know, fish when the fish are biting. Makes sense, right? But does it really? So let me first make a few qualifying statements. First, I'm assuming you and your marketing team and your ad folks understand your business's seasonal patterns and which of your customers or prospects want different things you offer at different times of the year. You know, promoting snow skis and winter apparel in June throughout most of the Northern Hemisphere doesn't make a ton of sense. So delivering the right message at the right time still does matter. Second, there is such a thing as spending too little or too much on marketing and advertising. That is, there are spend thresholds that you need to understand. If you're not spending enough, your ads won't reach the right people enough times to do any good. And likewise, there are upper bounds or limits, meaning that you're already here and spending more isn't going to do anything more for your business. But in most cases that we come across, neither one of these scenarios is the case. Third, your marketing mix or how much you spend across your different marketing channels matters. And this actually matters a lot. And I'll dig into this in another video later. And finally, fourth, different businesses and industry sectors do respond differently to advertising. Retail is different from wholesale. B2C is different from B2B. Financial services are different from hospitality and entertainment. You get the point, right? So with all of that, let me give you a couple of rules of thumb that are backed up academically and have been proven over and over again in the real world. So the first one is this: across all businesses and marketing channels, so everything combined, the average sales response from advertising is generally between $2.50 and $6.50. So let's make it $4 to make things simple. Now, keep in mind that this isn't the return on advertising. It's just the sales that are delivered as a result of your marketing and advertising. And like I said, this does vary quite a bit across marketing channels as well as different types of businesses. And the second one is that the long-run elasticity of advertising on sales is between 0.1 and 0.3. And to make things simple, let's call it 0.2. And like I said a second ago, this could be different for your business or your industry, but generally 0.2 is a good number to use as a starting point when you're trying to figure out what a change in your ad spend will do to your business. And what this means is this: a 1% increase in advertising spend should generate a 0.2% increase in sales. Let's say that I have a $10 million business and I spend $500,000 annually on advertising. So I invest 5% of my annual revenues in marketing and advertising. Using the first rule of thumb of $4, I can estimate that my advertising is delivering $2 million in annual sales. And next, let's say that I'm thinking about increasing my advertising spend by 10% or $50,000 annually. What is that going to do for my business? We now have both rules of thumb to work with. The first would say $4 times 50,000 would deliver 200,000 in incremental sales. And the second rule of thumb is our advertising elasticity of 0.2. So a $50,000 increase in ad spend is a 10% increase. And multiplied by 0.2% would allow us to estimate that this increase will give us a 2% increase in annual sales, or $200,000. Amazing how that works, right? Now here's the kicker. Let's say my business looks like this. You can clearly see that we have a fair amount of seasonality, with December being the best month of sales and February being my lowest sales. And our advertising spend is generally reflective of our business. We spend more when we have more business and vice versa. So if we use our old rule of thumb of using our increased ad spend when the fish are biting, and we put that $50,000 increase in our top 3 months, which are December, November, and April, and we work the math through by calculating the percent increase in ad spend and multiplying that by our elasticity of 0.2, we can see that $50,000 increase spread across those 3 months will produce about $200,000. But what if I said, nah, I think our business will benefit more if we put that $50,000 in our lowest 3 months of January, February, and August? Bad idea, right? Not so fast. So again, if we work through the math by calculating the percent increase in ad spend and multiplying that by our elasticity of 0.2, we see that our annual sales increase by supporting our troughs is $200,000. So here's this week's business tip. When it comes to growing your business and brand, be cautious about employing so-called conventional wisdom and simply using the traditional ways of doing things. Now, I'm not saying you need to poo-poo all of it, but what I would say is that you do sometimes need to challenge these things. And one of the most effective ways to do this is by testing and rigorously measuring a variety of hypotheses. I just got through showing you how one assumption many of us make might not necessarily be correct. Now, I'm also not saying that it's completely incorrect, but seldom in business are things like this straightforward. Don't assume. You won't really know until you test things out and have empirical evidence. So if anyone is proposing one approach over the other, be a little more like my next-door neighbors from the state of Missouri and say, show me. Prove to me this is the right approach, or let's test this out to see if this is the right approach. You know what they say about assuming, right? So don't assume. All right then, so there you have it. That's this week's tip for getting your organization to its next level of profitable growth by creating clarity, alignment, and consistency. And if you would like some help analyzing your advertising spend and its effectiveness, be sure to give us a call. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.